Welcome to Backbone Unlimited. My name is Matt Hartsky. In this episode, we're cutting straight to it. If elk season is right around the corner and you're not as ready as you should be, this episode is for you. Maybe life got in the way. Maybe you overestimated how much time you had. Or maybe you just didn't realize how much goes into elk hunting until now. Whatever the reason, if you're feeling underprepared, overwhelmed, or behind the curve, I want you to know this. It's not too late. You're not out of the game. You don't have to sit this season out or show up with your head down, but you do need to shift your focus and fast. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through the bare minimums that matter most when time is short and the pressure's on. We're going to simplify the chaos, focus on what gives you the highest chance of success, and leave the rest. Because showing up unprepared doesn't have to mean showing up empty-handed. This is your last-minute game plan, built from 33 seasons of elk hunting experience and built for guys who are scrambling to get dialed in. Let's get to work. Control what you can, forget the rest. When you're staring down the barrel of elk season and realizing you're behind, it's easy to panic. You start looking at things you didn't do, the conditioning plan you didn't stick to, the gear you didn't upgrade, the maps you didn't mark up. The mental checklist turns into a wall of doubt real quick. But here's the truth I want you to hear. You can't fix everything last minute, but you can still control the things that matter most. And that mindset shift alone can save your hunt. If you're short on time, the worst thing you can do is try to make up for lost prep by doing everything in a rush. That shotgun approach leads to sloppy planning, bad decisions, and a backpack full of stuff you don't even know how to use. So instead, we're going to focus on 3 controllable categories today: your body, your mind, and your plan. That's it. Let's start with your body. Are you in the shape you wanted to be? Maybe not. But you've still got time to improve recovery, reduce injury risk, and boost stamina, even with just 2 to 3 weeks left. You don't need a full training block. What you need right now is a tight daily circuit that mimics the demands of elk hunting. Weighted pack hikes, body weight step-ups, core and posterior chain work. Active recovery, that means you're going to get in mobility, stretching, light cardio. If you YouTube search any of those, you're going to pull up endless options. You're not building a new engine, you're tuning up the one you have got so it doesn't fall apart on you or fail you on the mountain. Now let's talk about your mind. This is the most underrated part of last-minute preparation. You might not have time to run reps on the range every day or scout every drainage, but you do have time to visualize success, dial in your expectations, and mentally rehearse scenarios. What will you do when the wind changes? How will you react if your first setup fails? What's your response when it's day 4, you haven't seen elk, and morale's low? These are the moments that kill a hunt for unprepared minds. But if you rehearse them now, if you commit to staying grounded under pressure, you'll have an edge that most guys won't. And finally, your plan. This is where most last-minute hunters, they make their biggest mistake. They skip the plan entirely because they feel rushed. Don't do that. Even a basic, well-thought-out plan will beat winging it every time. We'll dive deeper into e-scouting and plan simplification here in a little bit, but here's the bottom line. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to know your next move. One drainage, one ridge, one glassing knob. Have that ready before you ever leave the truck. Don't burn time worrying about what you should have been doing in June. Lock in what you can do today. Let's talk about gear triage. What actually matters when you're out of time? Let's be real. If you're scrambling last minute, this probably isn't the year you're testing 5 different layering systems or upgrading to the latest ultralight titanium stove. You don't need everything, you need the right things. So here's the rule when time is short. Focus on function, not perfection. This is about reliability, comfort, and confidence in gear you already own. or can still get your hands on and use effectively. Let's break this down into 4 critical gear categories. Boots and socks, the unsung MVPs of every elk hunt. If your boots are garbage, your hunt's already in trouble. I don't care how many bugles you hear or how perfect your calling is, if your feet are trashed, blistered, or soaked through, you're done. You need a boot that fits well and is already broken in. You need good socks, probably wool. I love Darn Tough. Minimum 2 to 3 good pairs, no cotton. That's not gonna cut it. I layer 2 pairs of thinner socks to help blister prevention, right? In addition to your blister prevention plan, make sure that you have some moleskin in your pack, your Leuco tape, maybe some foot powder if your feet sweat excessively. Whatever works for you, test it out, know it ahead of time in these last couple of weeks. This isn't the time to test new boots on a 10-mile hike. Stick with what's comfortable and dial in your foot care routine now, at home, not in the mountains. Number 2, pack is very important. You've got to make sure that you load it right and trim the fluff. If you've got a good hunting pack, great. But even if it's not top shelf, you can make it work. What matters is how you load it. The priority here is balance, access, and weight discipline. Essentials go high and tight on your back, right? Easy to access. Frequently used items like any extra layers, snacks, probably optics are going to be on your chest. If you've got a spotter, make sure it's easy to access. Strip out the junk you packed just in case. If you don't know when or why you'd use it, it stays at home. Hatchets, saws, learn how to do the gutless method. You don't need them. Don't haul 60 pounds of uncertainty into the backcountry. Haul what keeps you moving, safe, and sharp. The third item is focus on layers. Stay dry, stay mobile, stay alive. Layering doesn't have to be complicated. Here's the basic last-minute system that works in 90% of early to mid-September elk hunts. Merino or synthetic base layer, whatever your preference. Lightweight grid fleece or active insulation. Puffy jacket, it could be synthetic or down. Again, you do your research on that. I'm a vest guy, so I constantly have a lightweight puffy vest as a mid layer there as well. Rain gear in the pack, even if the forecast looks good. Something lightweight. I've usually at least got a jacket or a poncho in there. Notice what's not on the list. Bulky hoodies, heavy cotton, cheap camo that holds water like a sponge. Your goal is to stay dry and regulate body temperature while still moving efficiently. If you're sweating through every climb and freezing every sit, your system's not working properly. You don't need to spend $1,200 to do this right. You just need smart materials, proper fit, and a layering plan that matches how you hunt. Let's talk about number 4, your weapon and kill kit. Know it, trust it, carry it tight. Whether you're running a bow or a rifle, last-minute prep should focus on function and familiarity. Can you draw, anchor, and release cleanly under stress? Range a target and move into position quickly. Access your release, rangefinder, or extra ammo or arrows without digging around. If not, you've got to practice it and get that dialed in. Not just for an hour or 5 minutes every night until the hunt. Then there's your kill kit. Again, no need to go overboard. Here's what matters. Game bags that are clean and ready to roll. Sharp knife with either a backup or interchangeable blades. Nitrile gloves, maybe some paracord, and I personally keep a very lightweight tarp or ground sheet in that kill kit to keep meat clean, especially as I'm rolling animals, cutting out back straps, a place to set a quarter until I can get the bag completely around it. You can get fancy later. For now, just be prepared to handle meat in warm weather and pack it out without spoiling. We'll talk more about hot weather meat care in a later episode, but your kit should reflect realistic pack out timing. When time's short, your gear isn't about flash, it's about confidence. If you can trust your boots, move smart with your pack, adapt with your layers, and make clean shots with your weapon, you're geared up enough to kill elk. Don't overthink it. Make sure that you try to simplify the plan, the where, the when, and the how you'll hunt. When you're short on time and underprepared, the worst move you can make is trying to do too much. Too many pins dropped, too many maybe spots, too much driving, bouncing, hiking blind. It's a recipe for exhaustion and frustration. Instead, you need a tight, simple plan built on 3 words: where, when, and how. Let's walk through each one with clarity. Where? Pick one primary zone and stick to it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The indecision, it kills more elk hunts than bad weather ever will. You don't need 5 units or a giant loop of backup areas necessarily if you're short on time and you haven't planned those out. You need one focused area with multiple huntable features and a plan to learn fast. Want more options? Better plan it out next year. Here's what you're looking for: north-facing benches with cover and feed, timbered ridges that provide shade and bedding, water sources that are still active in dry weather, escape routes, steep, nasty country where bulls go when pressured. Use your Google Earth and OnX to mark these areas, then pick a glassing knob or vantage point that lets you assess activity before diving into it. The whole goal here is to eliminate guesswork in the field. If you've only got a few days to hunt, every wasted hour driving around or second guessing your location costs you opportunities. Don't try to cover country aimlessly. Commit to a zone and learn it. The when. Build your days around prime movement. When time is limited and you're not totally dialed, it's tempting to hunt sunup to sundown with no real plan. That might feel hardcore, but it usually leads to burnout, sloppy setups, and poor decision making. Instead, structure your day around natural elk behavior. Get back to the basics. Early morning bulls are vocal, feeding, and moving to beds. This is your best time to locate and move. Be aggressive and intentional. Be ready in the transition zones. Midday, elk are bedded. Great time for still hunting, staging downwind, or shadowing a herd until thermals are stable. In the evening, feeding activity resumes. You can either wait for bulls to return to open areas or intercept them moving out of timber. But here's the key. Make those windows count. Don't just wander around hoping for bugles. Hunt with purpose in the areas you marked, with clear expectations for each time block. And if you're not hearing bugles, that doesn't mean the day's a bust. It means it's time to shift tactics, not necessarily drive to a new spot. More on that later. Now let's talk about the how. Choose 1 to 2 tactics and run them well. You're not going to master 5 calling strategies, learn 5 terrain types, and develop a solo elk ninja skill set in 2 days. So instead, I want you to pick 1 or 2 tactics that match your terrain and comfort zone and go all in on them. Here are a few reliable approaches. Call and move if bulls are talking. Cover ground, locate bulls, then move fast, cut the distance. Don't overcall and don't just camp on one spot. You've got your silent ambush. In pressured or quiet areas, shadow elk sign. Hunt bedding to feed transitions and use the wind and shadows. Still hunting near bedding cover can kill bulls when other hunters are sitting at camp. Early in the season, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be chasing bugles if they're talking early, but most likely I'm prepared to hunt the transition zones, wait around, and see what develops. Evening intercepts. Make sure you identify the most likely feed areas and stage downwind in the last hour of light. If you scouted well, this can be deadly. What matters is not trying to be fancy. It's about choosing what gives you the best chance based on where you're hunting and sticking with it long enough to let it work. Changing tactics every 30 minutes isn't adapting, it's flailing. So again, simplify. Where are you going to hunt? When are you going to move, glass, call, and rest? How are you going to approach elk if you find them? Make those decisions now, not on the mountain. Preparedness isn't about having the perfect plan. It's about having a plan that doesn't fall apart under pressure. Now, elk are elk. What you still have going for you is that when you're feeling behind or unprepared, it's easy to convince yourself you're out of the game. I didn't scout enough. My fitness isn't where it should be. I haven't been shooting my bow like I should. And those things might be true and important, but here's what's also true, and this matters. The elk don't know that. They're not keeping score. They're not following your Instagram posts. They don't care if you missed your July packouts or if this is your first year with a tag in your pocket. Elk are elk. They still need food, water, cover, and safety. They still behave according to thermals, pressure, and daylight. And no matter how late in the game you are, you still have three things going for you that most people forget when the pressure's on. Your willingness to adapt. You're here right now listening to this because you care enough to improve, even at the last minute. That's not something everybody's willing to do. Most guys who are underprepared just show up and hope. You're showing up and thinking, you're willing to shift tactics, simplify your plan, and strip out the ego that says you have to hunt hard just to feel legit. Hunting smart is what kills elk, not necessarily how much you suffer. The second thing you have going for you is your eyes and ears in the field. Even if you didn't scout the area all summer, you still have tools at your disposal the moment your boots hit the dirt. Tracks in the mud, fresh rubs or wallows, faint bugles at daylight, trails that weave in and out of timber, a cow call answered back in a nearby pocket. This stuff doesn't take decades of experience to recognize. You just have to slow down long enough to see and hear it. Last-minute hunters often move too fast trying to cover ground. But if you can out-hunt them just by paying better attention, use your eyes, use your ears, and let the elk teach you what they're doing. Number three, your commitment to the moment is important. You might not have trained for this all year. You might not have a big network of hunting buddies texting you bull locations, but what you do have is the decision to be fully present in the hunt. No distractions, no excuses, no phones, no podcasts, no second guessing every move. Just you, the mountain, and the opportunity to prove that you're more than your preparation, to overcome it. Sometimes it's the guy who shows up raw and hungry that stays in it longer than the one who had the spreadsheet and the color-coded e-scouting map, because this is still a mental game. And if you show up fully focused, fully engaged, and fully willing to learn as you go, you're in the fight. Unprepared doesn't mean unworthy. It means you've got to hunt smarter, pay closer attention, and lean harder into instinct and decision making. But the opportunity is still there, and so are the elk. If you've been listening to this, thinking, man, I wish I had more help dialing all this in, that's exactly why I created Team Backbone. It's not just a discount or a t-shirt, it's a tribe, a place where serious hunters get direct access to me, exclusive content, backcountry checklists, gear breakdowns, mindset training, and monthly giveaways. Yeah, you're going to get 20% off site-wide, a member-only t-shirt each month, and a private group of relentless men who are training for the hunt, mentally, physically, tactically. Whether you're behind schedule or just looking to sharpen your edge, this is the kind of support system that keeps you moving forward. Join Team Backbone today and step into a community that pushes you to be your best on the mountain and in life. Just go to teambackboneunlimited.com. I'd be proud to have you inside the circle. Thanks for being here. Until next time, train harder, hunt smarter, and never settle.